Hello, everybody. This is Mike Nelson from KDMA and Bigfoot FM. Today, I'm here with the band Mr. Speed, the Kiss tribute band that's going to be playing right here in Montevideo on Saturday at the Chippewa County Fair. How you guys doing today?
Doing great, Mike. You?
Doing good. Doing good.
All right. So, if you could give your, your name and the character that you play, and your instrument, that way our listeners on the radio can know who they're listening to.
Okay. Well, this is Rich Kosak, and I'm the Star Child, aka Paul Stanley in Mr. Speed.
My name's Mike.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Smith. He's a plum.
I'm Mark Hermanson.
Yeah, we'll do Rich, Mark, Mike.
There you go. Okay, so I'm Mark Hermanson. I portray Ace Frehley, lead guitar.
And I'm Mike Collins. I play the Demon. Gene Simmons, play bass guitar, sing a little bit, and breathe a little fire, spit a little blood.
There we go. So when did the band start out? When did Mr. Speed start?
Well, Mr. Speed started late 1993 is when the original four guys got together in Pittsburgh. We played our very first show on June 24th, 1994 at a used to be a very famous club in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And the reason it was famous is because there were some pretty big hitters that played at this place. And I'll mention a few of those bands: Bruce Springsteen, U2, The Police, Bon Jovi, Meatloaf. Those are just five bands that come to the top of my head that played in that actual club. It was a very, very small club. The cool thing about it was there was a parachute that was on the ceiling. So we tried some early pyrotechnics at that show. And actually, the confetti storm at that very first show, I threw the confetti out of 2 buckets into the crowd because the ceiling was so damn low. We didn't have anything. I mean, we really had no staging effects of any kind. But the band played its first show in 1994, and we're very, very proud and happy to be on our way to Montevideo to play on Saturday night.
That's right. So now, can you tell me about the name of the band, Mr. Speed? Of course, the Kiss track off the Rock and Roll Over album. Can you talk to me about why you guys chose that name?
Yeah, I can remember it pretty distinctly. It was myself and the original Ace Frehley in the band, and we were at his house. And we were kicking around names because at that point, you have to understand, there weren't very many Kiss tribute bands around. You had, I think, Black Diamond. You had Strutter. You had maybe Detroit Rock City, Hotter Than Hell. Some of those bands were making noise. We were the new kids on the block, and we thought to ourselves, we wanted to choose a name that if you were a real Kiss fan, you would know what Mr. Speed was. And I'll be honest with you, Mike, after all these years, 29 plus years, it's kind of been the kiss of death, because I think it's not easily recognizable with Kiss. But I will tell you this, I met Paul Stanley in Chicago in 2000. And when Tommy Thayer introduced me to him, he said, "Paul, this is Rich from the Kiss tribute band, Mr. Speed." And Paul looked at me and said, "Cool song to name your band after." So that was all the vindication that I needed.
There you go. That's awesome. So what inspired, the band or because you guys have been doing this for 30 years, like especially a Rich original member. What inspired you to do Kiss? Why not do another band? Why didn't you cover, I don't know, Zeppelin? Why did you choose Kiss?
Well, because I'm not that good. I can't play that stuff. I can't play Jimmy Page. No way. I think because when I was a young boy and in my teenage years, we had a little group of kids in our neighborhood, and we were all really close friends. And, we do all the normal things that kids in neighborhoods did. But when I wanted to get away from all of that stuff, I went to my local record shop and I bought, rock and roll magazines. I bought Hit Parader, Cream, Circus, Grooves. And at that point, Kiss was everywhere. I mean, you couldn't go into a shop and not see them on a magazine. I mean, there were 16 magazine that I'll add to that list. So for me to be able to take those magazines home, carry them to school, I started buying all the albums. It was just a way for me to get away from things that I didn't know were bothering me at the time, but maybe they were. And it was just an escape. I'd like to let Mike and Mark talk about, what drew them to, want to be in Kiss tribute bands, because they've I met both of these guys because they were playing in other Kiss tribute bands before they joined mine.
Hit it, Mark.
Well, I joined basically a Kiss tribute band in 2007. I answered an ad. I was living in Phoenix, Arizona, and I had been trying to do the original band thing for years and years, and I didn't ever want to do the cover band thing, but I was always a Kiss fanatic. Loved Kiss. You know, you read every interview, so I had this massive, useless Kiss information in my head. And what do you do with that? Well, you join a Kiss tribute band. And I never occurred to me to ever really start or join anything else because I wouldn't have a passion for it. Even though I like other bands, I don't have that passion for it. So and it would show on stage because you see other guys who don't have that passion. Maybe do it maybe for money, recognition, whatever. But you got to be a Kiss fanatic because it's like a cult out there. They know. So I thought, well, why not? I know I've seen all the videos, bootleg or whatnot. So I tried out and I got it and been in many different Kiss tribute bands and then ended up with the best one, Mr. Speed.
For me, it was very similar to Rich and Mark. I mean, I grew up with Kiss. I grew up in that era, you know, in the 70s, it was all about Kiss. And when we were young, it was just the spectacle of it all and the just the fantasy. I mean, I grew up a comic book kid, man. I mean, the comics and the cartoons and all that. So Kiss was great for me then for that. And then all of a sudden I start playing music. And then all of a sudden I start, you know, I enjoy building things and costuming and stuff like that, making stuff. And so when it came back around of an opportunity for somebody who basically said to me, wouldn't it be cool if someone did a Kiss tribute band? And I went, I would love that. So for me, it was back in, it was early 2000s. And, you know, it was the perfect marriage for me because I love playing rock and roll. I'm a bass player, singer, and I also love costuming. For me, it was great because I could build my costumes and I could also go out on stage and rock and roll. It was awesome. I loved it. And I've never, you know, I always say I'll do it until it's not fun anymore. And I'm still having fun and jamming with the best guys on the planet. And I'm loving it, every minute of it.
Now, as Kiss fans, how hard is it to pick a set list, you know, for the show every night? You know, everybody probably has their own favorites, you know, because Kiss has made so many great albums, so many great songs. If you listen to their whole discography, how hard is it to, you know, pick a set list every night?
Well, we don't pick a set list every night. I mean, I think this starts with the professional bands and goes all the way down. At least to us, we have to have a formula or a battle plan going into each year. And we will change things up every once in a while. We'll try some songs here at a sound check, there at a sound check, everywhere a sound check. But we really, because we've got Rich Hattery on drums and he's only been with us since January 1, you know, we had 5 years with our previous drummer and we had a nice rhythm going on, the four of us together. Now we've got to build that rhythm back. And it takes a little bit of time because we all live in different cities. We never rehearse with one another. Everybody works on their craft at home and then brings it to each show. So that's part of the job for each of us in the band. We will inject a song here and a song there, but for the most part, we're sticking to the 1980 set list that Kiss used in Australia for the most part. And you know, if something doesn't work, take it out and we put something in. But for the most part, I think the biggest thing is fans are still a little disgruntled with the whole Beth thing. But, you know, 29 years of doing Beth and paying tribute to Peter Criss, you can't say that we didn't give it the old college try. We sure as hell did.
Now, what is the best part about doing these live shows that you get to do, you know, all over the place? What's the best part about it?
Well,
Theater.
Yeah, for me, it's playing with my friends and playing for new people. These guys are my best friends, and when we're all together, it works. There's a culture in this band that starts with me, and I surround myself with people who want to do this as well as I do. There's a formula when we show up. Words don't even need to be spoken anymore. Everybody knows their responsibility. They know what needs to happen. So when I go to a Mr. Speed show, it's a chance to travel and see new places. It's a chance to be with my friends, to play music that I absolutely love. And the biggest thrill for me, Mike, is to see people smile. I love to see, I like making money. I'm not going to shit you, but, I really, really do love seeing people happy. And I try to remind my guys every once in a while, you don't know who you're going to meet. You don't know what kind of day they've had, but if you can make them forget about their troubles for 2 hours, then we're doing what we're supposed to be doing up there, at least for me.
Yeah. So, what about what would be the toughest like Kiss track that you guys are doing? Kiss song or track that you guys are doing maybe right now on the tour. What would be something that you would say is really difficult to do?
Go ahead, tell them, Mark.
Oh, well, the one that comes up over and over is 2000 Man, and I don't know why. I mean, it's difficult for me to sing. The other 8 songs, okay, but I don't know. This one, there's so many words. It's in a certain range. But for some reason, I don't know why it's kind of cursed, because at times we've done it. We've either gone too long, an extra chorus. It just something happens. So we're like, are we going to do this tonight? Well, usually sometimes we'll do Shock Me also.
Okay.
Every time we do Shock Me, Mark sees the set list and his asshole puckers up and he goes, "Are we doing that tonight? We're not working on." And then Rich, our drummer, goes, "I haven't been working on that song. Are we really doing that tonight?"
And I couldn't tell you why. It just it is. Everything flows. We do Talk to Me. In fact, I'm doing a lot of songs. I do New York Groove and Talk to Me and either Shock Me or 2000 Man.
You guys are doing Rocket Ride?
I used to. We don't, and this, like I said, we're sticking to the 1980 set list and stuff like that. So, but for some reason, 2000. I mean, you would think. I mean, we've played Unholy. We've played a lot of these B sides, the 80s stuff, and 2000 Man for me. I don't know why. It's hard. It's difficult for me. But I guess everybody has their own individual. Like Rich, I don't know which song does it for you that you're like, oh, that song.
Yeah, mine is I Stole Your Love. I really don't feel like I do that song justice. I never have. And I kind of creep into a corner if somebody mentions it. I really just don't want anything to do with it.
And here we have such a fascinating set list because it's a lot of songs that I never played previously in other bands and all that stuff. Like Is That You and Shandy and all these just deep track songs that are fitting to that era that we're doing. But for me, it's just like a brand new experience because, I mean, for me being Gene, I mean, it's I Love It Loud and all the Deuce and all the Gene songs. But I mean, this is a whole new thing for me. I mean, Talk to Me, Is That You, Shandy. I mean, there's a lot of just different types of Kiss songs that not other bands are doing. I mean, so fascinating, and it's difficult all at the same time.
And Mike, I want to say real quick to that point of like playing a song like Shandy. Most guys that play in Kiss style bands, they can play Detroit Rock City and they can play Deuce and they can play Love Gun. Those are driving songs, power chords. Mr. Speed's got that locked down, but where Mr. Speed flexes its muscle is by doing Is That You, by doing Talk to Me, by doing Shandy, because you have to pump the brakes on a song like Shandy. That's not a rock out song. That's almost a ballad, if you will, but we try to keep a little bit of a quicker tempo to it so it doesn't bore anybody. And subsequently, that's what we've done over the years, like Mark was talking about. One of my favorite songs when people ask me is Unholy, because it's unlike almost everything else that we play, because it was from a different era of Kiss. When the guitar players in the band were not just playing power chords or double stops or things like that. So yeah, that's the cool thing about our band. We can try stuff. It may not work, but we're not afraid to try it.
Now, I saw recently on Facebook, you guys posted a picture about playing at Freedom Hall in Tennessee. Of course, Kiss played there back in the 70s. How does it feel to play it somewhere where the legendary Kiss played?
Cool. Awesome.
It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. Well, first of all, and we're driving up to the place, and there's this monolith of a building. It's like 10 gazillion orange bricks, and it's this giant thing. And I looked at people in my truck and I said, "We're playing there." And then I thought we were going to be playing in like this little corner of the building because it's huge.
Yeah.
Nope, we drive all the way around the back, and there's this big freight door opened up, and there's people. There's our truck and trailer there, because everybody flew down to that gig except Mike, because he was kind of close. But we all flew, and we had our stage gear hauled down by our driver. And then I walk in this door, and I'm like, okay, where are we playing? And they're like, in there. And I just kept going, and it opened up into this arena. And then when people started talking about, yeah, Kiss played here on the Alive 2 tour, and the Destroyer tour, and Elvis played here, and I was like, holy shit. So it's a humbling experience to because I pinch myself. I can't speak for Mike and Mark. I want to let them tell you what they felt, but we played great that night. And of those 3 nights that we did down south, that was my favorite show.
Dude, for me, I live close to there, so when I would go to concerts, I would go to Freedom Hall, Johnson City. I mean, the last time I was in that building, I saw Metallica on the Black Tour,
Wow.
and shoot, I saw Van Halen there. I've seen lots of bands in that building. And I remember sitting in those seats and looking at that stage, and kind of, you try to peek around the stage to see the backstage area and all that stuff. And for me, actually standing, like Rich said, they had the whole deal. When I pulled up, I thought, oh, it must be, we may be playing outside, or we may be playing in a corner or whatever. But no, it just kept getting bigger. It was like, okay, well, no, you're playing in the main room. You're playing on the big stage. Oh, we've got the giant black curtain that all that stuff, the hanging PA system. And I was like, well, this is really cool, but nobody will show up. We'll be playing to an empty room. There's no way. Nah, there was actually a crowd there. And I was like, this is freaking cool. And then back in the dressing room, painting, putting the paint on. And I was like, Gene Simmons may have been in this same room doing the same thing. It was surreal to me. It was magical. Seriously. I agree with Rich. That may very well be my favorite show since I've played with the band. And there's been a lot of great moments since I've been with the band. But that one for me was just, I even on stage, and usually you get lost in the character and all that stuff. But even on stage, I was playing, and I looked at, like when I said Metallica, I remember where I sit, and I looked at that seat. I looked at that area, and there was people there going, yeah, and all that. Freaking cool, man.
Yeah,
so
that's awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was great. I thought Google Maps was wrong when I started getting closer. I'm like, this can't be it. This isn't it. And sure, and I just like those guys, I go, we're going to be like playing in like a gold room or something, or somewhere smaller. And they go, no, right in there. And they had stagehands to help us. And I started getting more intimidated. And then people are like, Metallica played here, Kiss played here. And I started going, oh man. And then you go in the dressing room, and like Mike said, that, Kiss got ready possibly in this room. And I had to not think about it, to go up there and perform, because it was awe-inspiring. It was an arena. We usually don't play arenas. We play theaters, and you come from, when I thought Freedom Hall, I thought it was like the Eagles Lodge or something like that. We were going to be playing, and guys out there at a bar drinking beer or something like that. I don't know, but it was an actual arena. So that was one of my top places I've ever played, I would have to say, because you just felt like a rock star the minute you walked in. So it was awesome.
Now, Rich mentioned that you met Paul Stanley back in 2000. Has anybody else in the band got a chance to meet Kiss, or how's that been?
Oh yeah.
I just met Eric Singer. I've never met anybody else. I did meet him when they did their little acoustic tour, and they brought all their memorabilia and stuff like that. And they did I went to St. Louis and saw him, but they just signed my book, and it was "Thank you, you're great, wonderful, and you move along." That was about it. But Eric Singer actually met in a bar in Florida when I was playing with another Kiss tribute band. But that's it. I haven't met really anybody else.
I've met all of the living members except for Paul Stanley and the
Oh,
Rich. And but out of all the members, I mean, Bruce Gillick's a super sweet guy, great dude. He's very normal and down to earth, so he's super cool. But for me, meeting Gene, I played a show one time as he was the guest of honor, and I played at it, and he kind of walked up to me after the show and just started talking normal, super cool guy. I mean, just playing with my kids, all that stuff. I mean, and he didn't have to be that cordial. I mean, because we were just we were just the band there, and he came up to me, was just super cool, giving everybody hugs, talking to our families, because of course we're going to bring our families to something like that. And yeah, I mean, so out of all the members that I've met, Gene he was just super sweet to me. And, if you're cool to my kids, then you're totally cool with me. So, and, he was super, he was in the floor playing with my son. So, I mean, there you go. So it was all cool. So,
wow.
actually my grandson, but
Now, what about in terms of you guys, of course, put your own makeup on? Is it easy or is it hard to do that every show? The makeup.
No.
Hard. No.
What's interesting, Mike, is that you see the three of us here, and all three of us have different routines, different lengths of time that it takes us to do, what we do. It's become kind of like a running joke in Mr. Speed that, am I allowed to swear on this radio
That's
program?
fine. Yeah. It's Facebook.
Okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Say whatever you want.
So I've been known, all you have is a fucking star. How tough can that be? And it is true. But what these clowns don't get is they get to cover both eyes, so that they don't have to worry about wrinkles. I'm 59 years old. So, I use this shit under my eye to smooth it out. So, because when I put the makeup on, the wrinkles show, and but we want to do it well. Mark is a perfectionist. If I give Mark 4 hours, he'll take 3 hours and 59 minutes to do his makeup.
Wow.
I do. I'm sorry, but I do. I can't get any. Yeah, I do.
It always looks good. I think Mark uses the time just to kind of get ready for the show. Mike's kind of funny too, and I didn't mean to go off on a tangent. But Mike looks like a bomb exploded on his on his tape. There's crap everywhere, and it's filthy. But if I need a sponge, hey Mike, can I borrow a sponge? And he's got a sponge. So it is interesting how the four of us are four different dudes. We have four different routines for how we do the makeup, and it runs the gamut from 75 minutes to 4 hours to put the makeup on. It's crazy.
Now, with the course with Kiss, being the legendary band it is, do you think they set the standard for rock and roll? And just you guys play their music all the time. What do you think about that? Did Kiss set the standard for everybody else?
They set the standard for the rock and roll live experience, in my opinion. The theatrics of it all. It's not just, and nothing against blue jean bands or whatever, but they just kind of push the level of what it could be. And I love that, go big or go home and all that. I love the theatrics of it all. And for me personally, yeah, especially in the live aspect, I believe they did set the standard there, in the footsteps of Alice Cooper, of course, but they just took it to a whole nother level.
Now, with the end of the road tour going on, have you guys seen the band at all during this tour? Are you going to go see them? The last course, it's going to wrap up in early December in New York. So do you guys have plans to go see the band this year?
Yes. Yeah.
Which show?
Already caught it.
The last one?
Well, my wife and I have tickets to see the last two shows. December 1st,
there we go.
Madison Square Garden.
I'm going to try to go to the last one as well, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I saw them about a month and a half ago down in Columbus. They played a festival called the Sonic Temple.
Okay.
So I saw them down there. I'm going to see them when they come here to Cleveland in October.
Okay.
and I'll see them the last two shows in New York City. And when I see that last show, that'll be my 70th Kiss show.
Wow. 70. Wow. Now, of course, this Saturday, as everybody knows, you guys are going to be playing right here in the Chippewa County Fair in Montevideo. Anything special planned, or talk to me about? Of course, this is your first time ever in Montevideo, right?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Been there.
Never been there, huh?
Been there.
Okay.
What are you looking forward to, Mark?
I'm just, it's, they say anything special. It's like, what are they allowed us to do? You'll get the whole, if they allow, because we always go in and the first thing is, can I do this? Can we shoot this off? Can we use this? So if they allow us to use everything and we can fit everything, you're going to get a hell of a show, but sometimes we have to put disclaimers, because some places won't even let me use my smoking guitar. They won't like confetti. And then people come in going, well, they're not doing the right Kiss stuff. And I go, well, we can't, we're told we can't. So if we can do everything, yeah, it's going to be something special.
Now, go ahead, Rich.
Hey, Mike, we are doing everything on Saturday. We're doing everything.
Okay.
Confetti, the whole shooting match is coming to Montevideo. Promise.
Okay, sounds good.
Yep.
Now, last question here. Any advice for tribute bands out there? Maybe some people that are thinking about starting a tribute band. Any advice for them? You guys have been doing this a long time. Any advice?
Yeah. How much more time do you have? It's like, here's the thing. Here's my take on this. I started this in 1994, and there was no internet. There was no kiss.com. There was no replica this. There was no costume that. Nothing. You had to learn how to do this stuff by trial and error. And I will tell you, at the second show that I ever played in a costume, my homemade Love Gun boot, one of the platforms sheared off, and I almost fell right over the monitor.
Wow.
So every day I put on my $3,000 boots that I wear right now. I'm very grateful that I went through all of that. What I will tell bands nowadays, you have the best of everything at you. Do not take the shitty, cheap way out. These bands that do Motley Crue, Bon Jovi, Journey, if you're going to do it, do it. But don't just dress one guy up and then everybody else takes the low road, because people are coming to see a show. Like one of my bandmates said earlier, the Blue Jean bands. I see these guys playing in bars. They're playing in khaki shorts and button-down shirts. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Do you know, Mike, you're going to see what we go through. And it's our cross. We put the cross on our shoulder and we walk down the street with it every day. But by God, even when Mr. Speed is over and maybe I'm doing my own original stuff, there's going to be a wardrobe to it. There's going to be a little bit of a show to it, because the fans deserve to see something. It's not just about going and. So my thing to anybody who wants to start a tribute band, go all in. If you're not going to go all in, stay home.
My advice would be play it like you wrote it. I noticed that a lot of tribute acts will almost come off as their pantomime, just playing the song. But if you really want to be convincing, play it like you wrote it. Don't try to hide any confidence issues or anything. Don't sit and stare at your neck going, oh my God. As much as you can do, play it like you own that song, and confidence, and just oof when you play it. And also, if you ever get into a Kiss tribute band versus any other band I've ever been associated with, you're going to work hard all day long. I mean, it's non-stop. So be ready. It's like you said, across the bear. Yes, it's a lot of. I mean, it's almost a glutton for punishment type situation. It's like, why do we do this to ourselves? But it's fun. We feel blessed to do it, and it's just the reward, the payoff, so cool.
Yeah, I would definitely say to them, you have to have the passion for it. That's the main thing. Passion, and have a savings account, because it's not going to be cheap. And people know when it's cheap. You have to, like Rich was saying, you got to go 100% and do the best that you can. Not, don't try to be the best. Just do the best that you can. Don't skimp and go, well, this is cheaper if I do this. Would they really notice with the wigs, or do I have to do it? If you're asking that, don't be in a tribute band. So you have to have the full-on passion for it, or go home. That's what I
Okay, Mike, I got to tell you this because I pay attention to a lot of the other Kiss tribute bands. Like, they all watch us. You can see when someone rips off Mr. Speed. It's pretty blatant. Like, their website looks pretty similar, and oh my God, now there's another band out there now that's doing the same era costumes as us. Now it took somebody 3 years to finally catch up, but they're trying. But the other day I saw some photos on social media, and the drummer in this band, I won't name the band because I don't want to sling mud, but the whatever was covering his legs wasn't a true bodysuit made of spandex. It was like pants. So it was real loose fitting. But the worst part was that the dude was wearing Skechers.
Skechers.
Out there singing Beth wearing Skechers. Now, I'm sorry, but I got a lot of problems with that. And in my opinion, there's just too much wrong with that. And as I said earlier, this is the day and age where you can have the best of everything that's available if you want to spend the money. Mm-hmm. The people that don't want to spend the money just want to go up there and take it from a bar or take it from a venue or whatever. That's a real touchy subject with me, because the guys you're talking to here, we've invested in this band. We put blood, sweat, and tears into Mr. Speed. There's a lot of money that we're never, ever going to see back. The pandemic screwed everybody. And, this band's never going to recoup money that we lost that year. But that's no one's problem but ours. But we don't cry about it. We're grateful for what we do. We love being with each other. And when we get on the road, we play it like we mean it. Like Mike was saying, you got to play it like you mean it.
All right. Well, thank you guys for coming. Yeah.
Yeah, the fans will see it. They'll see right through you, and they'll know you're bullshitting. Trust me. All right, I'm done.
No, it's fine. Yeah, I want to thank you guys for coming on the show today. It was great talking to you.
Well, thank you very much, Mike. Thank you.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you.